It's currently 11:06 p.m. What I've done most recently is install a note-taking app on my phone. Even though I'm more into physical notes, or at least that making physical notes is a better way to learn something, but it's more difficult both to edit and, in many cases, to carry around physical notes than in the case for digital notes. Plus, I don't really have a notebook handy. This is something I thought about doing since the morning hours. I recall first waking up sometime between 7 and 9 in the morning. I woke up sometime around there. Maybe I first woke up around 7, but didn't get up till 9, or maybe I woke up and got up around 9, or I didn't do much between 7 and 9 in the morning. Either way, I recall having my first cup of the morning pot around 9:30 in the morning. And then I started having my second cup of the morning pot along with the bagel Dad cut for me before leaving for work today, that I then lightly toasted and put all of the remaining, as it turns out, honey pecan cream cheese what I previously thought was cinnamon cream cheese, and then before that, regular cream cheese, on the two halves of the bagel. I combined the halves and ate it like a sandwich. Though I took a picture of it like the way it was to show the degree of toasting and the kind of cream cheese. Around 1:15 in the afternoon, I toasted what were essentially 2 cheese bagels, plain bagels with cheese on one half of each of them, with every half of the 2 bagels separate all at once. That is, I put all of the halves in the toaster, but they didn't touch each other. I had those cheese bagels as sandwiches by combining the halves on a bed of some of the Cheetos cheese puffs that Dad's friend Sean gave me the other day. Then around 5:30, in the evening, I had a can of Progresso Italian style meatball soup that I microwaved for 3 minutes. After pouring the contents in, after peeling the can lid off, or through the can lid's tab. It was generally around that whole late morning to maybe mid-evening hour period that I worked on finishing the beaker polystyrene drawing, though obviously I haven't finished it yet. I've been working on the plaid pattern of Beaker's pants. These are essentially the markers I've been using for that. And these are the markers I've used in the past for working on the second Akina polystyrene drawing, though I didn't work on that today. Instead, working on the beaker polystyrene drawing while Dad was at work. And while putting in time to work on beaker, I also made efforts to make space for a note-taking app such as editing and uploading yesterday's my dinner video. Reviewing the February 4 my dinner video to make sure its audio and video both worked before deleting at the same time the UCut project file and the raw video files. And removing a couple apps. In this case, my Garmin Connect app, which I don't think I ever used. I think I installed it maybe 2 years ago and then never used it. Maybe 3 years ago. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it was a while. And then much earlier, I think in the late morning to early afternoon, I removed the Blocks app from my phone. A game app that came pre-installed after a recent update about maybe a month ago. For my phone. But not before briefly playing it. I'm not really interested in having that game app on my phone. Plus, I also did tasks for games. Such as if I recall, maybe 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. period in which I played conquest round after conquest round on the Congregate game Stag, a top-down tank shooter game. Partially because on Congregate they're currently putting a whole bunch of new badges now. For example, Stag now has 39 badges on it last I checked, which is absolutely unheard of. Basically made my head spin, since out of all the years I got badges on Congregate, and I used to pretty much spend my days playing games on Congregate just to get the badges. I've only ever heard of a game having 4 badges max. Now, Stag has 39. Another game has 39. And one has 19. It's insane. And I also dabbed into Epic Incremental Hero 2. Alvinar essentially aggressively completing task sets for the episodic event, since prior to today's rush, I think I was more around here, sitting at roughly somewhere between 45 and 50 task sets completed. I don't even know how many task sets I ended up completing today. That's historically not really something I've kept track of. I mean, I show where I am on the task sets, but I don't count how many task sets I complete on a given day. But I used time boosters. I just about did every trick in the book I have from playing this game for more than a year to complete all of those task sets, because prior to me doing that today, I was afraid that if I didn't do something, I would run out of time before completing all of the task sets. I used that enchantment in order to complete earlier task sets that told me to produce a set number of standard goods, which has historically been my least favorite task to get from a task set. Only reason I can't complete this task set now is because I've already given neighborly help to every single one of my neighbors, and I have page after page of them on this game. Though, in this case, using an instant coin booster will work too. And then I have to place trade offers, even though I don't really have a need for them at this time. I've never gotten, as part of a task set, to produce a set number of satiant goods. The produce X number of standard goods used to be easier for me. About maybe a month ago, back when my evolvable buildings and this building set produce standard goods, but now they produce satiant goods for the most part, and I've never, as part of a task set, gotten a task asking me to produce X number of satiant goods, but I guess if that ever happens to me in the future, I'll be prepared for it. After some research, watching YouTube videos, looking at apps on the App Store, I ultimately went with Simple Note. I don't have much experience with having a system for taking notes, so at least for now, Simple Note seems to be the best route for me to go in terms of taking notes from here on out. This is for helping me to develop in terms of drawing on polystyrene with Sharpie markers. And I'll just have to wait and see how this pans out. Oh, and from 8:45 to 10:30 p.m. at the latest, I had 2 cups from an evening pot Dad made. With the first of those cups being an Irish coffee. That Dad made for me. I still have the cup I used for the evening pot. Here's where I'm currently on the research tree. Ultimately, due to, as part of previous task sets, getting tasked to research, or in this case, more activate research technologies, one at a time, essentially. First this one, and then ultimately this one, essentially not too long ago.